Welcome to the Harvesting Wisdom podcast. Together we explore the vast landscapes of life, delving into the rich soil of experiences, sowing the seeds of curiosity, and harvesting the profound wisdom that each episode unfolds. Welcome to another podcast of Harvesting Wisdom. I'm your host, Mike McMahon. I'm here today with my guest, Jessica Mefford-Miller.
That's right.
Right? I got it all.
Yeah, you got it.
Wow, I very rarely make it through without messing it up. And you are the CEO of Valley Metro.
That's right. I am.
All right,
yeah.
so I did my part.
You
right?
did. All right.
So tell me, that's I've seen the Metro growing and growing and growing, and I just can't wait for the next leg to open always. I'm hoping it goes out to Glendale and over to Scottsdale and comes, all throughout this, the Maricopa area.
Yeah.
And that's what my dream would be, I imagine. Is that your dream?
That's my dream, Mike.
Okay, great. So, anyway, tell me, how did you get into that? CEO means you're an accountant by trade or by?
No, not at all.
Okay, so you're the executive officer, not the CFO.
That's right.
So your background is in transportation?
Yeah, my professional background's in transportation. Mike, I'm actually a geographer by training.
Wow, okay.
So that's what I went to school with when I was younger, my bachelor's, my master's, and my PhD program. So I have done a number of different things in my career. I've worked in transportation the last 25 years.
Everything in Arizona?
No.
Or do you come from all over?
I come from all over, actually. I've been in Arizona just coming up on 4 years. I joined Valley Metro as Chief Executive Officer back in spring of 2022.
Wow, okay.
So I have done a number of different things, but really, my origin is thinking about how people connect with their natural environment. That's what I've always done. Way back when I worked in biogeography and I did research on how people and roads impact desert environments. So I came back to the desert 25 years later, but I went on to have roles in the National Park Service, was one of my first and earliest jobs. So always, again, working at the nexus of people, culture, and the natural environment. And then I started working in transportation. I'm a systems thinker. So I think it suits me. But the thing about public transportation and transportations generally, it's one of the ways that people can positively or not so positively impact our natural environment. And most of us people actually live in urban environments. So creating sustainable, thriving urban environments, that's what I do.
Yeah. And, I moved to Phoenix over 4 decades ago when I graduated. I graduated in environmental design back in the University of New York and went through a lot of the stuff you're talking about, geography and land planning and that kind of thing, and then came out here, went to ASU for a master's. But when I first came here, this city did not look like this. It's, I think, not quite tripled in that time, but certainly way more than doubled.
Yeah.
And when we didn't have a way to when it rained, you couldn't get into Tempe.
Yep.
The bridges would wash out and that kind of thing. And quietly, there was engineers that worked for all the cities in the state, and they did really a pretty amazing job with we've got drought issues at times, but we also have, flood issues and the haboobs and all these different things. When I first came here, I was come from New York. The city was so spread out, all right? And I was like, holy macro, I'm looking for a job on the other, it's like 30 miles away or whatever. And there's very little public transportation. There was some buses, but it wasn't, certainly as sexy as the Valley Metro train line is, I guess you'd call that. So it's great to see this kind of evolution coming to our city. Yeah. And so when you came here, what were your first challenges with Valley Metro? And you came from other places.
Yeah.
Which probably were center city, more centralized, right?
Well, I came here most recently. I was executive director of Metro Trans in St. Louis. So I ran the public transportation system there. So not unlike Phoenix, back in St. Louis, we had dense urban communities, but we also had suburban environments and lower density areas. And so I was accustomed to working in a space like this. I think one of the reasons that I came here is the vibrancy and the growth that the Phoenix region is experiencing.
Yeah.
And so economically and culturally, I think that's wonderful. We've also invested significantly in infrastructure here in the Valley. We're now in our 41st year of funding our regional transportation system with a regional transportation sales tax. We've been very focused, and it's allowed us to build not only our transit system, but our highways and our arterials. And by the way, our buses and vans operate
Because
on those.
in the time I've been here, I don't know the population now, 8 million maybe for the state. I don't even know.
Yeah,
Maricopa County,
the Phoenix
5 or
region
6.
is now over 5 million people in the Phoenix urbanized area.
And it was a fraction of that when I got here. The I-10 did not go through the valley.
Yeah.
And it had a different look. The landscape was, so if you were coming from California, you'd take Baseline, and literally from Buckeye all the way out to Santan, it'd be all orchards, going to back streets and that kind of thing. So it's really changed quite a bit. I kind of miss some of the old orchards and the flower farms, but reality is highest and best use, and the densities and how we handle that. So I think overall, Arizona's done a great job. I just listened to Michael Crow do his annual talk, and to talk about the innovation of ASU and how ASU is intersected with people in Arizona, and not just from outside the world too, the semiconductors and that kind of thing. And we work with GCU too, and all these universities are a really big part of what's going on.
Yeah.
And we're not, when I first got here, it was the 5 C's, the 4 C's, then they turned it to the 5 C's, which is cattle and citrus and copper and tourism, I guess. And now we have a real, foundation, right?
Yeah.
We have a core. And, when you listen to Michael Crow, and I think he's probably right, we are now being looked at as being the innovation state, the high-tech state. And I think it'll just continue. And but you got to move people around, right?
We do. We do. And you know what? And you're talking about innovation. I talked about growth, but let's be honest. Not everything about growth is wonderful.
Right,
a lot of parts of it are challenging.
We make mistakes, right?
We do. Our region is spreading out geographically. We're in this valley. And so outside of the mountains and some of our tribal communities, we don't have a lot inhibiting our outward growth. And we're in this fragile desert ecosystem, which is so very special.
Right.
But we've also got to be good stewards of our resources. So we might have land, we don't have enough water to continue growing outward, to build every home on a big lot with a lush yard. So we've seen a lot of vertical growth more recently. And I think that's especially important because it's a good thing. Yeah, especially in Phoenix and Tempe and Mesa. Right. We're building multifamily housing. We're building more dense, not only residential, but commercial and manufacturing spaces so that we can live together on a tighter footprint. But that requires that we're really deliberate about creating culture and community and inviting places for people to live, work, and play.
Valley Metro is not just a train. It's also lots of buses that connect, right? And that's probably the biggest part of the infrastructure is the buses.
Yeah.
But it is really cool. What we're going to be doing with the festival, we're hoping that we're the largest environmental festival in the country this year.
Okay.
So which is kind of a big stretch, but we're starting to get a tremendous amount of support from lots and lots of sponsors coming out. Nobody's really saying no to it because it's really about this community and the community coming together for something important. But let's talk to people who don't know, because there's people who moved here 20 years ago and they live in Sun City or they live in Scottsdale. They've never used really this system now. But tell them what we have. But then let's talk to people we're going to have filmmakers and visitors from around the planet. And each year it'll get, more and more popular. That's how these things work. Joe and I just got back from Sundance, which was absolutely crazy. But if I fly in, this was one of the things we talked about. I really don't need to rent a car.
You don't.
People think you need to rent a car, right?
No, you don't.
So at the airport, I can get on the train
Yeah.
and it'll take me to Mesa, Tempe, or it'll take me into Phoenix.
That's right. Either way. So you arrive at the airport and you take the Harbor Skytrain to our 44th Street station. And from there, you can get on Valley Metro Light Rail. You can go east and head into Tempe or Mesa, or you can go west and head into Phoenix. And once you get in downtown Phoenix, you can even hit our downtown hub and head north or head south to where we're at today on our South Central extension.
Right.
So that's just one part of our system. We serve over 550 square miles of the Phoenix metropolitan region.
Wow.
So we're big.
It's a lot of square miles.
It's a lot of square miles.
You know, because I have a commercial landscape company, and I remember driving. This is before cell phones, and having a job in Apache Junction or one in Sun City, and it'd take me all week just to go to the job sites, to talk to the client or talk to my guys, and everything has changed so significantly.
Absolutely.
But it was the worst thing in the world, having to put on 400 miles a day of driving, and it's not needed that much anymore. But what's really cool, so I land at the airport. If I'm staying at a hotel or have family out in Mesa or Tempe, I'm there.
Head east.
Then if I'm coming and I want to stay in downtown Phoenix, which is, and by the way, downtown, all of these cities, Tempe does not look like it did when I got there.
Yeah, I would imagine.
It looks space age,
Yes,
right? It was a small college town. Mesa doesn't look the same. And we're talking about, back then, the center cities weren't that great. And Phoenix, the same thing. But now we're looking at lots of new architecture, tons of people coming in. The universities had a lot to do with bringing young vibrancy into the cities. But lots of restaurants, lots of services, lots of shops up and down. So the concept of the film festival is we're trying to keep everything within walking distance, quarter mile in each direction of the light rail. But the bottom line is you can literally go to theaters and movies out in Mesa, Tempe, or up in Phoenix. How long is this thing?
35 miles, yeah. So we have two lines now. We are 35 miles long, and we're a young system. Look, our original rail alignment, it turns 18 years old this year. So in terms of urban infrastructure,
wow.
yeah.
Seems like yesterday.
It does seem like yesterday, but then when you think of an urban rail system, we're just a teenager. You know, we're pretty young.
Right.
So we've expanded several times, and in fact, in the last 3.5 years, we've opened 3 new rail extensions. Wow. We've got Streetcar now in Tempe, so that's 3.1 miles. In addition to the 35 miles of light rail, 100 bus routes. We operate paratransit across that 550 square mile area. We also have vanpool. Valley Metro does that. We have a carpool program. We match people with rideshare, and we encourage telework. So we're doing a lot to provide people with more environmentally friendly ways to get around.
And another system, which you support all systems of transportation, and one that wasn't around the country, it's starting to spread out a little, is Waymo.
Yeah.
So I see Waymo, to me, you know, having my degree in engineering and taking all of my traffic classes that I had to take, I look at Waymo as a major game changer. And it could be not just Waymo, it could be whatever.
Yeah.
But Waymo has been the pioneer so far. They don't have that everywhere. I've been on it several times, and it's really kind of fun. I see us being able to reduce the number of cars.
Yeah.
And so we don't have to keep expanding that infrastructure and spending so much if people can just, you know, dial in, jump in a car and go where they're going. And that can be certainly done if I fly in and I decide to stay downtown Phoenix or downtown Mesa or Tempe, I can stay there. If I then want to go, I don't know if I think it's still baseball season then, or maybe somewhere in that, you know, the beginning of the spring season. There's so many things going on in Arizona, right? So, but if you want to, you can jump on a Waymo to get there, or you can plan it out and get on a bus or something like that. But it's really kind of cool to know that you can jump in. My next question is, and for people who are coming in from out of town, or people who haven't used it, what do I have to have in my pocket? Change, dollars, credit cards? Can I prepay? Can I pay for a week? How does that work?
Yeah, have your phone in your pocket. You've got that anyway, right? So download the Valley Metro app before you ever arrive. You can plan your trip. You can pay for your trip. You can buy a pass. You can buy a multi-day pass. If you're here for a week, you can buy a weekly pass. One stop. You put it on your mobile app.
A lot cheaper than a car rental.
Cheaper than a car.
You don't have to go through what you and I did trying to get in here, going through the lights. And I think I bumped into 2 cars. I'm the worst driver. I think I bumped into 2 cars trying to get here today.
Yeah, and light rail runs straight up and down Central Avenue, right outside our door today. So that Valley Metro app, that's your one-stop shop to plan your trip, to pay your fare, and then you just tap with your mobile device on the validator as you walk by.
Wow.
Get on the station. It works on the bus too. Same fare works on the bus, on the train, on the streetcar.
And trying to plan, if you came in just for a festival, there's no way you can hit everything in Arizona.
No.
There's just too much.
Too much to do.
But it's great. That time of the year, we should be sunny, and it's already sunny and hot.
Yeah.
But that time of the year should be wonderful.
It's going to be gorgeous.
Right. And then there's a million little gems. Like we're here right now in Maisha and Richard's Red Velvet Bakery. Probably the best cupcakes on the planet. And she's launching Do Good Donuts with our nonprofit, which will be real classic donuts. We'll have that available to the thing. But this is just one of many really good restaurants along the light rail. I mean, Durant's is just reopened for good steak. You got, everything all the way out into Mesa. So we're trying to do our best to let people know when they haven't come here. Like I just went to the Phoenix Open, which has turned into an absolute madhouse.
Huge.
Right? It's crazy. But the thing is people want to come to Arizona. Specifically because this is a vacation spot.
It is.
And that time of the year is still to me, that's perfect temperature. It's still a little cold.
Yeah.
I don't want to put a jacket on at night, but that time of the year should be great. You can plan a whole trip. And if you want from here, you hit the Grand Canyon, you take a shuttle or even a small planes to get up there, rent a car or whatever. But this right here is super convenient. So we're hoping to promote people riding bikes. There's a lot of bike lanes, and then jump on the light rails. So some people might come in and spend just a day or so at the festival. That's how these things work. Or hit something in each part of town. I encourage people to go everywhere because Mesa is really fun now. Tempe is this new age city.
It is.
And I don't recognize.
Really active and vibrant.
Here, right? And then here, the downtown scene here in Phoenix with the speakeasies and the restaurants and everything going on, art galleries throughout the whole area. It's just a lot of fun.
Are you telling people what are your favorite restaurants along these communities? I've got favorites everywhere.
Yeah, it depends on what I'm in the mood for, but there is stuff up and down. Durant's just reopened. It's under new ownership, but they've done a pretty good job of remodeling it.
That's your classic kind of old school steak.
Yeah, there's Chinese. There's everything you can think of eating. I'm trying to think now. Tempe, because the light rail's going through it.
I like in Tempe. I like Cocina Chihuas, which is in the cul-de-sac neighborhood. That's a car-free development. I think we maintain that. It's beautiful. So we're doing a great job because it's beautiful, and you can get off at the Smith Martin Apache station. And cul-de-sac actually built a crosswalk from our rail platform right into cul-de-sac. So you just get off the train, and you are 20 steps away from excellent carne asada, margaritas.
There's so much. And you know what? If I don't know, I haven't really looked, and I should, but are there any plays? Is the symphony playing? Is there any games on, because we have all the sports and everything. So there's a lot of different things you can tack together. I look back at some of these and I don't know if they're still open. My favorite back in the day in Tempe was a place called 9th and Ash. It was on 9th and Ash.
I don't know.
But I think it may have closed down 10, 20 years ago. But any old timers would remember that from tailgating to an ASU game.
We've got a lot of breweries. There's Powerhouse right there in downtown Tempe. And since light rail, I want to take credit for a little bit of the massive economic development in downtown Mesa, because we've got a whole row of breweries in downtown Mesa.
that's
Kettle
right.
House just opened an outpost.
Sure.
See, Tacos Chihuas has a place on Main Street in Mesa. Excellent tacos. I mean, the culture that you can get to without ever getting in a car is amazing. I was just at Wren and Wolf downtown Phoenix.
Oh, I love
it. That's good for an elevated evening. Love it.
And that little Roosevelt room for a cocktail before you go. There's a lot of little cool places.
Yeah, they're very cool. Roosevelt Row, that art scene on Roosevelt Row.
Oh, yeah.
That's worth checking out for people.
The wild, one of the sponsors is Wildlife. It's a Wildlife Brewery.
Was it Arizona Wilderness Brewery?
Wilderness, my bad.
Love Wilderness Brewery.
That would have been a mistake.
Yeah. Wilderness Brewery's right there on Roosevelt
It's fun
Road.
to sit out and have
You sit
beers
outside.
and just watch the world go by.
Yeah.
So there's just there's so much to do and see while you're here. And all of these, we got so many vendors that are kind of helping and promoting what we're doing, and the city's coming together. So it just depends on what you want. We'll have a full list of bakeries or restaurants and what's going on while you're here in town, if you want to stay an extra day or whatever.
I'm a local and I got to get that list.
Yeah, it's a fun
something different every week.
Well, what we originally wanted to do, and I don't know if we're still doing it, we talked about doing like a pub crawl on the light rail, or
so easy to do. No shortage of great places.
Yeah, there's so much to do. And what we're really doing right now is establishing this, but we're really looking to the future. And I'm hoping, we haven't even reached out yet to Harkins, because there are Harkins is the main
They're
around
a great
here so
partner.
long, but that allows us to expand throughout the state.
Yeah.
Because this is the Arizona Film Festival, Skyfire. This is so. They're in all our small, Yuma and Flagstaff.
They're
and Tucson,
everywhere.
and it's our way of kind of connecting and going forward. Yeah. And ideally, we'll see, Valley Metro hooking up and maybe get a bullet train to Tucson from here to Flagstaff.
I would love that.
Or whatever. And, going to Vegas now, they're building the freeway so I think they said we'd be able to drive to Vegas in 3 hours from downtown. That's pretty amazing, right? And think about it. So if there's a little train that goes along that, or if you just can get to Vegas that quickly, but our world is getting smaller.
It is getting smaller.
But that's the whole idea of what we're talking about is the environmental film festivals.
Yeah.
Are we doing this the right way? Are we doing it sustainably?
That's right. So
are we looking at the cost?
I agree. We've got to think about sustainability, the footprint that we're leaving behind us. And as our world gets smaller, we've got to make sure that we're getting more connected to each other and not less.
Right. And so when people think of Arizona, what do we want them to think of? As people who are part of the community.
Yeah.
So I went to ASU. I've been here for 40 plus years. I've built several businesses and my nonprofit and raised my kids here. So it's kind of a paying forward, I guess they call it. What have I done for the community or help the community? And this is part of what we can all do.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take much. One of the sponsorships that we're looking for is for businesses to buy tickets that we can give to school kids. Whether they're reservation or they're public grade schools or high schools or college, the ability for them to come, and especially if they're along the light rail line or a bus line to get here, can they get here, go and watch some films? And we've got a lot of young documentarians from all over the world, but now from Arizona too, that are putting in, and that's what we're kind of trying to.
We have to ignite those sparks in young people because this is their environment to carry forward. This is their community. Some of the projects and programs that I'm working on now and things we're designing to build, that's for my kids' generation. It's that far into the future.
It's storytelling.
Yeah.
And but it's not just storytelling, it's story writing.
Yes.
So how are we writing the next chapter in that story? So, well, we're getting the hook from Maria here. So really appreciate you coming
it's
today.
Such a pleasure.
Jessica. And we're going to have some fun.
We can't wait for the festival.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of chaotic, and that's what makes it fun.
And we're here for it.
All right. Well, thanks for coming again.
It's a pleasure.
Okay. If you guys like this, please follow us. And We're starting to get very large quantities of watchers on this thing right now. I think we're averaging over 250,000 people per episode. A lot of them are international. We appreciate you tuning in as well. And hopefully you can all come to the Skyfire Film Festival late March, 27, 28, 29. And thanks for joining us.
Thank you for joining the Harvesting Wisdom podcast. Click subscribe and like for ongoing insightful conversations. Explore our webpage for show notes and additional resources. Visit our guests' webpage for deeper insights. Your engagement is the foundation of our journey, and until next time, keep pursuing wisdom.